The Songs of Maldoror by Roman Rudin from Strange Occurrence in the Region of the Heart. Let's go over to the text. So here we go. So the Songs of Maldoror. That's what I'm saying. The Songs of Maldoror. Walking along the riverbank, I was caught in a sudden downpour and took shelter in a souvenir shop. The good-natured owner gave me some hot coffee and invited me to choose something as a keepsake. I was attracted to a book which had the title The Songs of Maldoror embossed in gold on it, as well as a picture depicting a never-ending chessboard. I realized the chess pieces had to be somewhere in the shop window. The rain persisted for quite a while, and the owner suggested we had a game. He told me he didn't have any white pieces because he had sold them to someone shortly before I arrived, along with the chessboard, but that he still had a picture hanging on the wall and that we would be able to play the game in our minds by speaking our moves aloud. I should say that before I was caught in the rain, I had been thinking about my game with Saragossa. We had postponed it for yet another day. As before, there were many pieces remaining, and after that, the last suggestion, I had grown a little weary. No matter where or when, everyone considered it their duty to play me at chess. Most likely, the owner had recognized me in some newspaper photographs and was burning to share his impressions with his friends and boast about them afterwards. I agreed on condition that we play a King's Indian defense and not a Spanish defense, as in my postponed game with Saragossa. There were various explanations as to why Maldoror was chosen as the venue for the chess game. Perhaps it was done intentionally because I was the champion, and only the walls could help Saragossa now. But most likely the reason was the well-known partiality of Marquez, honored chairman of the Chess Federation, for resonant names and strange deeds, as if his own fame was lacking somewhat. People used to say that on his estate near Cali in Colombia, there is a zoo for which he brought over a blind baby white elephant from India that he called Borges. We began to play, and the owner pondered for quite a while, fixing his gaze on the picture on the wall. As soon as I arrived, this town seemed to me unusual, but I couldn't figure out exactly what was strange about it, what was so strange about it, although I had already spent 3 days there. At first, I thought that it had to do with the many unlikely rumors going around about Maldoror. For example, it was said that its inhabitants had a number of absurd prejudices, such as a taboo on names beginning with vowels. The first thing I did when I arrived there was to leaf through the telephone directory, but could find no confirmation of this. Another absurdity were journalists' statements that the inhabitants of the town ate alone because the use of food was considered unseemly. However, in the hotel where I was staying, there was a restaurant where quite flavoursome dishes were prepared, although the cook might have been a newcomer. For some reason, though, I never got round to asking the hotel staff about it. But now, today, the shopkeeper, intently pondering his move, had invited me for coffee, and I forgot about my absurd suspicion. He checked my king, and I smiled at his audacity, at accepting the sacrifice. However, a few moves later, I realized that I had underestimated my opponent and that I had consequently acted recklessly. For some time, I doubted whether I was right and hoped that he did not see my eventual defeat. But that's not how it turned out. When it was all over, I had taken my eyes off the never-ending chessboard. I asked his name. He replied that in Maldoror it wasn't customary to ask people's names, but that he would tell me because, first of all, he knew what mine was, and secondly, Saragossa, who had arrived a few minutes before I had, also knew it. I understood that Saragossa also suffered defeat at the hands of the souvenir shop owner, because he had the amusing habit of collecting up the chess pieces he had lost and burning them. Out of habit, he's probably now pensively looking at the burning fragments of horses and elephants, while I'm finally beginning to understand that I've been looking for look that I've been looking for too long at the picture on the wall. The rain has long since ceased, and the owner is in a room out out of sight. There's a sound of clattering crockery. Apparently, for some reason, he wants to be alone. Consequently, accepting his offer of a game, instead, I'll buy I'll buy his book with its resonant title as a keepsake of Maldoror, where I'll probably leave my champion's title, because I will never play chess again, in contrast to poor old Saragossa, who will now be the owner of such a costly and useless crown. Thank you.